Ladies and gentlemen, MMA has been actively driving the AI narrative in marketing and working closely with the AI Advisory Council in India as well as globally. Well, we have finally curated the real-world use cases in collaboration with our advisory from across various categories to help you seek that inspiration and deeply integrate AI in business and marketing. So, ladies and gentlemen, this panel will uncover the key challenges faced at the ground level in adopting AI in ongoing marketing endeavors at scale. For that being said, we'd request all of you to kindly stay seated. Remember, there's a lot more in store for you. And let's talk about the next topic titled Beyond the Buzz, Real-World AI Use Cases in Marketing. I'd now like to call upon our moderator, Rajiv Dhingra, founder and CEO of Rebit, to kindly join us. Let's give him a warm, warm round of applause. Rajiv, starting from the extreme left. Also requesting our eminent panelists to join us. First up, Abhijit Kundar, the Vice President and Head of Product Management, Jio Ads. Ladies and gentlemen, a big, big round of applause. We'd also like to call upon Farhana Haq, the Senior Director and Cloud Head, Manufacturing and Conglomerates, Microsoft India. Mahesh Narayanan, Chief Marketing Growth Officer of NetCore Cloud. And Taranjeet Kaur, Head of Media and Digital Marketing, Tata Consumer Products. Well, with that, I'd leave it in the able hands of Rajiv to take it forward.
So, welcome everyone, and welcome to all the panelists. We have a great panel for you today. AI is a huge buzzword, but in this panel, we are going to try and go a little beyond the buzz and try and unravel what are the real-world applicable use cases of AI when it comes to marketing. And we have some marketers on the panel. We have people who represent, big tech that actually rolls out this AI to marketers. We have people from the advertising world as well as from the platform world. So we have all of that. Before I begin, I'd like to share one small experience with my own company and client. Just today, we actually, used AI to do cohorting for one of our retail clients for discount shoppers and ran a campaign based on that cohort, which AI suggested, and saw a 37x ROI. This is absolutely real. I shared the example with the panelists backstage as well. I can't share more details because it just happened. I don't have a case study, no approval from client, but did share the proof with the team. But yeah, let's put the focus back on the panelists. What are the real-world use cases that you have seen either with your clients or within your companies where you have seen actual real difference being made? And feel free to be as elaborate on this question because this is what the panel is all about. And also unpack for us, while you talk about this, as to what made it work in your mind, because AI has been a buzzword for very long, but it is not something, it's like the new shiny cool thing to do. But it's not something that's been directly associated with either ROI, ROAS, impact, real-world use case. So tell us a little bit more. Let's start with Abhijit because you're close to me, so go ahead.
Thank you, Rajiv. So I'll start with a couple of use cases that we are already live with. What we did, mid of last year was that we launched our SMB product, our SMB platform and business. And the moment we got into the market, we realized that there are some very real-world problems that the merchants who work very closely with us, were facing. And that problem was very simply put, they couldn't come up with the right set of creatives for themselves. The quality of the creatives were not quite to the extent that we would actually even go to our suppliers and the supply base with. So one of the areas was, you build a vast library of, creatives for very specific niches, categories.
And these were all AI generated.
So the initial, plan was not.
Yeah.
And, that's where we also saw that there were, problems there because there could be two, let's say, shoe shops next to each other in the same, area, same, vicinity, but they potentially, could have the same creative with some, obviously the words and some of the branding may be different. But then, that's what happens if you have a non-infinite library of, creatives, which you can actually set out. And that's where, the transition to AI began for us. So mid of last year was when we started investing in AI, and very quickly, we
So,
were
so
able to
how many
actually bring this.
how many unique creatives, or how many unique merchants was created and delivered using AI?
So, so the answer to that is that there is no number as such, because what we do is, I'll give you a measure of, what we do here. There are prompts which are pre-created, and we don't really ask the merchant to set their own prompts, because we don't want them to enter something which is potentially
So a
explicit or
merchant
anything
just
to that
sort of
extent.
submits his logo and his category and gets a creative in return.
Exactly,
Wow. So
exactly.
you created a self-serve AI platform for creatives, for merchants that work with Geo, to
Correct.
create their own creative and then use it,
Correct,
in your ecosystem for the
Absolutely.
product promotions. Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
That's pretty impressive. That's a real world use case. Very,
Right.
very phenomenal.
And,
Yeah.
we extended that to video as well, just the end of the year. So it's display and video. We're doing
And
that.
how difficult was this, before I move on to? How many days, people, months, what did it take?
Close to 4 months initially.
Okay.
And there were challenges. We'll,
And what was the size of the team working on this?
maybe about 15 to 20.
Oh, so it was sizable effort, yeah.
Yes,
But
yes.
you ultimately built a scalable product for a category. Impressive,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Very interesting real world use case. Of course, do you think the same is possible for let's say a marketer who works in FMCG or retail to build something like this for themselves in a smaller scale?
I'll say, of course, it's possible.
Yeah.
This tech is available and accessible. There are challenges which, some of the early adopters like us have, faced and, overcome as well.
And do you think it will become easier and easier and easier for these guys to do it?
It will, to a certain degree, but then this industry is evolving at such a rapid pace. You cannot, sit back, and that's something which we've
Very
learned.
interesting.
So
Very
that's
interesting.
something which we have.
The death of the creative agency is imminent. From your end, from Microsoft's, I'm sure you have probably the bird's eye view of every large player and what they are trying to do, and possibly I remember this, I started a social media agency called What Consult in 2007, and at that time, the knowledge of social media, so one of the very senior clients and marketers said, can I put a banner on the homepage of Facebook? And, of course you couldn't. So I had to educate them. So your life is quite tough, right? You're talking to really senior marketers and senior clients who expect a lot out of AI, and you power it pretty much.
So, and I think, thanks for that. I think being in the point where our motto is to empower every partner, every customer, every employee in the world to do better.
Yeah.
But having said that, AI is no magic bullet. And sometimes I have customers come up with these really weird use cases as if AI कर देगा ना, ऐसा data model कहाँ से आएगा? But what
Yeah.
AI करेगा ना, मैंने AI data model नहीं बनाएगा.
That's a fantastic point you mention here, and
Yeah.
I would like to endorse that point of view. Most successful AI implementations are successful because the data behind it.
Exactly.
I hope you'll agree,
Exactly.
right? So if you get connected, intelligent data, and then put AI on top of that, your results are going to be above par by a
See,
stretch
your
of
data is
imagination.
your data. So let me
Exactly.
to simplify it, and especially in parlance of marketing and creative, AI helps you across, obviously there are multiple use cases about AI across the different functions, but to simplify three broad things. The first one will be productivity. your team's productivity.
Wow.
AI helps you create that first draft of everything. That's why we at Microsoft call it as a co-pilot, because it's supposed to help you create the first draft, not the end product.
And
You're supposed to
have
work
you
on
have
that.
you done any measurement with some of the companies where
Yes.
this has improved productivity, some
So,
number?
So there are various sources. IDC calls out different numbers, but from an Indian customer perspective, because every
Yeah,
region
yeah,
is very different.
yeah,
From Indian
yeah.
customers, we typically see anything up to a 33% savings. So basically, it translated, it saves 1 week of your in 5 weeks. So 60 minutes broadly, and every day. So that is the kind of saving. Now that obviously you'll figure out where you want to reinvest that 60 minutes to do something else, right? So like चक देती ना 70 minutes, ये 60 minute पे operate करता है. But
Yeah, those people who are HR heads and owners, this does not mean you can pay your employees 33% less.
yeah, exactly.
It means you can give them 33% more work,
So I
right?
think, so the first one is productivity. So a lot of times, for example, in media, our investor reports, what we do, we kind of helps create the first draft. When in my sales pitches, it helps me create the first mail or a draft or a PPT, or so
Yeah.
it helps you productivity. The second one, and the gentleman before us in the moderation said that personalization. Marketing has become so loosely driven with everyone sending out a marketing campaign and everyone sending out everything on a SMS to a WhatsApp now. Personalization is lost.
Any specific case comes to
I
mind?
can't mention the customer. So they deal
Any
with this,
category that you can mention?
it's
Well,
somewhere on consumers,
Okay.
consumer beverages,
And-
and they deal with kind of high-end consumer beverages, right?
Okay.
So they have used it to target personalized campaigns for their group of different
So this is
categories.
personalized copy, personalized creative, or
Everything from
Okay.
what they may need as an incentive, what
Okay.
they need. Like for example, if I take a credit card and I want everyone gets set miles or set rewards, and it's very generic, right? Ek
Yeah.
set hai, go get a reward. Now imagine a situation where I can use it to personalize that. Farhana travels a lot and she has kids, and for them they may need these as possible reward options vis-a-vis someone else who may be single and who may be doing backpacking a lot and stuff. Maybe so different. If you can personalize it to the point where your rewards your loyalty is rewarded according to what you want,
Yeah.
that's the power. And we're seeing that a lot. I can't give a number exactly because this has just started in the last 6 to 9 months.
Understood.
But we're seeing a lot of POCs happening around that.
So I think on personalization, I'll talk about the case that we did in Tata Consumer and the result for that.
Perfect. So
Sure,
I think-
let's
and
come-
I'm
let's come
sure
back.
You're using that.
Yeah.
So the third is pure creativity.
Yeah.
I have a jewelry company, and imagine they're a very traditional jewelry company, and they use DALI to create the next generation jewelry. So they used to have this really old school, proper jewelry designing and everything, and they ended up whenever they would ask their creative team to get jewelry, they got into this whole issue where they got plagiarized because it was a Bulgari design which got kind of copied. So it kind of got into a bit of a trouble. So they're using DALI to create unique. The beauty of AI and the whole GPT-4 is every time you create something, it will be unique. It won't be a copy. You obviously have to ground it, but it won't be a copy of it, of anything which is there. So they kind of made jewelry, which is beautiful. When they showed it to me, they kind of created a jewelry which defines oranges. So season of oranges is there. So beautiful bangles and everything. So, and they were super happy. And this owner, and the lack of it, was this very non-technology person, and he's like, see, I created this now in front of you. So the pride of being able to create something for someone who's not a designer. So the creativity aspect and the confidence it gives to the teams. I've seen ad agencies do the storyboards, the first level storyboards.
I'm sure ad agencies are
Marketing
using the hell out of
companies,
it.
including ourselves. Our own company, we create the first draft of storyboard and then give it to our ad agency saying, okay, now can you run a campaign around it? So these are just some of the real life use cases. We're seeing it here and now, and we've seen customers come back and share these. But having said that, as I said, it's not a magic bullet. There's a lot of human intelligence, there's a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of data that goes behind being able to create all this.
Fair. Great point. Yeah. And honestly, I think there are no original ideas. Everything seems to be inspired these days. So from that perspective, but we'll come back to that point on creative personalization and stuff. From your perspective, Mahesh,
First of all, great to be here. At Netco, we launched our co-marketer. We were careful about the trademark there. We launched our co-marketer late last year, and we've seen some great results. Broadly, three areas that we've kind of helped a lot of brands across, and then some of them spoke about them already. But personalization.
And specific, if you can give examples.
I'll talk about specifics as well. So one is personalization. We look at search data, browsing behavior, historic purchases behavior, RFM metrics, etc.
Absolutely. You have a lot of data.
We're able to personalize the experience both on the web and the app for the consumer. So that's a big use case from an AI and generative AI perspective.
Absolutely.
The second piece is what I call ideation, which is content creation. But what we've done is we've laid our own proprietary customer intelligence on top of OpenAI. So we have a deep data intelligence set, obviously on the basis of the tons and tons of campaigns that we've run for brands. We're able to layer that on top and then predict accurately the kind of behavior that a consumer is about to display. And then we're able to then also choose the kind of channels channel preference that the consumer is showing. So it could be email, it could be WhatsApp, it could be notifications, etc. Right? And the third piece is what we call predictive segmentation. We're able to derive for a lot of e-commerce and D2C brands. We've been helping them with category and brand affinity derivation, classic marketing segmentation, and then able to derive those predictive segments. So, I think we were talking about being able to kind of figure what's the next best action that this consumer behavior set, this segment is going to be able to depict.
Can we, sort of zero in on one example where either one of these things was used, and what was like the process of doing that, and what are the do's and don'ts from your perspective?
Yeah, sure. So for a specific e-commerce brand, we actually, looked at. We were actually powering their search as well.
So this is search on their e-commerce.
The search on their website and their app experience.
Sure.
And so we had a lot of deep search behavioral
intent of the customer. Yes.
And then we also had their first-party data plugged in, so we had a lot of cart behavior as well, RFM metrics in terms of recency, frequency, monetary value, purchase value, etc. What we were able to do is then take all of that, synthesize the kind of behavior that different consumers are depicting, and then personalize the experience on the basis of all of this data. So, for example, people who've been buying every 2 months in a certain budget category between 5 and 10,000, and a certain kind of outfit, for example, are displayed similar outfits, are sent communication on different channels related to that specific outfit in that budget in that same kind of frequency.
Understood.
And we were actually able to drive significant upside there as well. The outcomes are pretty strong. We saw a bump in AOV of up to 20%.
Wow.
And a bump in conversions of...
So AOV stands for average order value.
Average order value of about 20%. And conversion rates went up by about 15%
that's
for that specific customer. So pretty significant bump in that specific period itself.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Coming to you, Taranjeet, you are in, while you do have D2C plays, but from your perspective, there is a large business that is brick and mortar as well, and data might be a challenge. So let's hear your use case of AI and personalization that you were going to share with us.
So I think firstly, I quite echo what Farah, you also mentioned, right, in terms of AI is not, it's not load and go, right? It's not like a washing machine. You put whatever type of data that you want, and then it'll wash up everything and give you excellent clean clothes, right? It's not like that. So if you give intelligent data, if you give structured data, you get a better output. and then you don't blame AI for throwing, oh, the chat GPT did, which I Googled was, or I searched for, it's not showing the right results, right? Because maybe your data ingestion was not right, or maybe your question was not right. And I think a lot of times AI is again, misunderstood to what Farah was saying. I mean, it's like some Matrix movie. People think it's just going to change the whole world. Now AI has come, everything AI will do, we don't need. I think AI needs more human intervention when it comes to starting it, right, and monitoring it, at least with the stage that we are in,
Sure.
right, as a country itself, right? I mean, if you think of it, how AI is anyways growing, and I think the key is more be brave and test and learn, right? You will have to put a little bit of dollar to understand what will work for me and what will not. And I think that's where I'll just explain how at Tata Consumer we have done some, I would say 3-4 case studies where we've put in some money and seen what is it going to really give us, right? So one of the things which is the most obvious thing is using AI to do there's Copilot, Bid Manager, how to optimize media planning and get better rates out of it, which gives us, AI intervention in the bidding process, and hence gives you a better cost efficiency, right? Which is AI in media planning. And then the second one is more.
And how did you do this? I mean, did you
It's
partner
a
with someone?
tool,
You built
yeah,
it
with the agency.
Okay.
With the agency, they have a tool which helps us get to that. So it is more, I would say, they introduced it and we test and learn, and we found extremely good results on the cost efficiency that it gave us. On personalization, I think what Farah, you were also talking about. So of course, I think most of the people know that Tata Tea as a tea brand has pioneered the hyperlocal strategy way back in 2019 when we started the customized packs and the creatives, etc., by each state, and how each creative, each blend of tea is also made customized to the state, and that's how the tea is actually built. But when it comes to usage of AI in making the marketing campaigns, what we tested this time was there was a campaign for Punjab market, and we used AI to identify what will resonate with the consumer, and made serving of the creators basis the person's name, basis the ID that we gathered, and also basis the interest level. So if I have a certain occasion in my house, whether it is a marriage or in Punjab there's the Star Bandi and there's so many other events, how do I actually give a video to the person who's watching a Lodi creator? So we basically had a celeb on board, which was Shehnaz Gill, and we got her to make different shots of the creator that we were shooting with her. And then we every time somebody would, let's say, resonate with, let's say I want to serve a happy Lodi messaging, but the entire sequence should be of a marriage, it'll come like that, right? And that's how AI is driven, and that's how we did the campaign. And because it is very personalized to the person, and I as a person interested in XYZ, I think the engagement rate went up by 3x versus a regular campaign, right? So it is not just, I think there are enough and more partners who are talking about, okay, I want to do customized name targeting, but I think it has moved beyond that also, and that's where AI comes in, right? People want to know more and more about what's in it for me as an individual, and what do you know about my liking, and hence obviously the messaging resonates much better. Right.
So it's starting to come through that personalization at every level, whether it's at creative level, at a individual communication level, copy level. It seems to be like the theme where AI seems to be being applied very, 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 very strongly as such, right? And very interesting use case from your end as well in terms of improving advertising efficiencies through data-driven bidding using AI, right? So it's not just the creative agencies that might be out of a job. There's also media agencies that need to watch out for AI and its growth. We have 8 minutes, so 2 minutes.
So I just wanted to just add to what she said.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest thing, and Prime Minister mentioned in his speech also, is Bhashini, which is multilingual, right?
Yes.
So, and it works with us. And what the power is, India is 60% rural. So a lot of people, and we have multiple languages. We don't have one national language per se.
Yeah.
So the power of AI is that every, if either it's dissemination of information, which can be like a more government or company like an ITC or you know any of the Tata consumers when you have the whole dissemination of information, or campaigns or anything that you provide as a benefit to all these rural farmers or point solutions can be in their language. So they can ask in their language, they get a response in their language. So that is the power of the entire multilingual capability of AI. That not only does it personalize, but it communicates to you in a language that you understand.
Yeah,
And that's not traditional Hindi, right? Like if you remember a couple of years back, if you ask a bot or something Hindi, it will go really Shuddh Hindi and you would be struggling.
Yes.
Bola kya yaar isme? I used to
Absolutely.
stop doing IVRs on Hindi because I could not understand the Hindi they would be asking me questions in. This is the Hinglish, and we have tested with Marathi English and a mixture
Absolutely.
of everything, right? And it responds to the same lingo that you're speaking. So
So, you know, on the lingo part, there's just one more case which I just want to bring alive, which is more everybody talks about let's go for a chai, and that chai word changes by the state, right? How you talk, the same chai word the pronunciation, the accent, everything changes.
Yeah.
And what we've done is we've taken that listening AI piece, put it in the campaign, and on, let's say, if you have a quick commerce platform on your phone, you actually get a pop-up of the same lingo that you used, and then the product being served to you as, you know, buy now. So I think that is one more use case which we did, which I think it does get you to start thinking that, you know, you may actually in the beginning think that, oh, chai is just chai, but it is actually not. The accent changes so much. And I think sometimes within the state also it changes so much, right? By the district of it also.
Absolutely. And
I was going to say
Yeah.
on the point of language and AI, we have the biggest event in the country, and it's not the IPL I'm talking about.
Elections.
And the biggest marketer in the country has harnessed the power of AI and in different languages. I don't know whether you know.
Yeah.
He's used AI to create content in multiple
Absolutely.
languages
Absolutely.
and to be able to. That's probably the best use case, and it's coming right from the top.
Yeah, and connecting, and something like that would have been either very, very costly in an earlier era or absolutely impossible as well.
Absolutely.
We have just 5 minutes, so 1 minute each. This needs to be quick, snappy. Future use cases you see, and future challenges, or current and future challenges, and in 1 or 2 snappy words. Let's start with Taran, you only, because you just mentioned. But future use cases you see for your business of AI, or you hope to see in the next 2 to 3 years, not very far in the future, next 2 to 3 years.
So I think I was talking to someone in Meta, and we were discussing on how, you know, AI is going to grow on their platform. I think where it is also heading is that, you know, the users in the future may have API integration and start to create their own AI chatbots. That's where maybe, you know, we're talking about give the power to the consumer, and there's a lot of power. I think there's going to be a power lot which is going to be given of AI to the consumers. I think we can also start thinking of
Consumer as a creator for
consumer
your
as
brand.
a creator, because all this while you've been thinking content creators, maybe you want to think about AI creators.
Understood. Very cool. And challenges that you think you're facing today? I mean, is it talent? Is it implementation? Is it understanding?
I think there is a lot of, I would say, misunderstood of AI.
Yeah.
I think that's one challenge, one
So you
big
say
challenge.
understanding what AI can do, cannot do, how you can best use it is the biggest challenge.
Trust me,
today.
people have asked some basic questions like when I pick up the phone and I'm doing some scan, is it AI or is it not AI?
Yeah.
I mean, at that level, people are asking questions, right? I think what is more important is for everyone to understand what is really AI and what is not, right? I think that is a
Understood.
big challenge and I think that's where the marketers also need to be a little more upskill. You know, it is the same transition we were facing when digital had a boom, right? And everybody's like, oh, now everybody needs to know what is VTR and CTR,
Yeah.
right? And they were
The
like, okay,
metrics.
now everybody needs to know what is AI, right?
Absolutely.
So if you don't know, then I think, especially I think when you are implementing, if it is more like I'll choose a partner, I'll give it to the agency, you go and implement. I think if you really need to succeed, you need to understand the tech more and more for
Absolutely.
you to succeed. Otherwise, you will be at a receiver's end because your expectation may be a complete mismatch.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic.
I
Future
think
use
the near
case.
future,
Yeah.
there's this concept of digital twin that's been around for a while, and probably going to become a reality on the back of generative AI, AI and generative AI.
Like an
right?
executive assistant, but much smarter and AI which can do your work types.
Which is already here in the form of Copilot.
Yeah.
This is much beyond that. People who watched the movie Minority Report, there were precogs who could predict the future. This is your digital twin. This is, imagine being able to create a digital version of me and then predict the next best action that I'm going to take. So, for example, what am I going to...
Who can do my
what,
sales
what
calls
chai
for
am I
me.
going to have in the evening today, or what pair of sneakers am I going to buy today?
Yeah.
And then brands can personalize the communication to me at that point in time, right? So I think that's going to be an interesting use case. On the other side, I think two things. One is some serious questions around, I think, serious ethical questions. And we were chatting about this earlier in the day as well. Usage of AI content for plagiarism and a whole bunch of other, gaming the interview system, for example.
There's a lot of deep fakes happening with the elections.
I have stopped
yeah.
asking for an assignment as part of the interview process now, because I just know it's not them.
Yeah.
It's just the machine.
Yeah.
So,
But if they do a good one, you at least know they know how to give good prompts.
so good prompt engineering. So they've really done a good prompt engineering job. I think the other piece that I know we've been bashing creative agencies, but I still do believe
Yeah.
that understanding human emotions and to be able to create that wow, aha moment,
Yeah.
you will still need, so AI will spit out a storyboard, a
Production.
storyline.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be able to build that human connect and that expression and layer experiences of humans
Yeah.
is probably something that will not go away so soon.
Absolutely.
So
I
I think creative
think-
agencies are very much in play.
I think humans will always have a part to play, but it'll be like at a higher plane than
At a
what
higher
they
plane,
have.
yeah.
You know, now you have 100 people doing operations, 2 people thinking. You'd probably need, the more thinkers and the more strategists and the ideators and the visionaries will be more powerful, possibly. I don't know, from your perspective, future, you should be able to tell us. We shouldn't even be going anywhere.
We do something called the art of possible. So with AI, actually nothing is impossible. For be it creating medicines faster, molecule development faster, renewable energy. There's just
But in specific, the marketing context.
In marketing, for example, the whole
I know.
creatives, right?
Yeah.
The whole the art of personalization, the use of language, the use of proper segmentation, the content creation.
Sure.
How do you kind of stitch the whole story end to end, which is personalized?
So you're
But
saying
as-
hyper personalization that is
Segmented,
Segmented.
curated for you at scale.
absolutely.
Go closer to that dream of segments of one that every
Yeah.
market has always had.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, what like Spider-Man said, right? With great power comes, with great
Great
responsibility comes great. So the challenge is, which he alluded to, is responsibility and
Understood.
ethical.
Understood.
You are now giving an extremely powerful tool in the hands of consumer and very young consumers sometimes. The maturity and the challenge of deep fakes and plagiarism is all of it is just start, right? And if you
Yeah.
don't deal with it, I'll give you an example. We launched Sora. You must have seen the Microsoft. thing.
Yes, of course. The
Even
video.
I don't have access to it
Okay.
because till we don't test it for ethical, because they create these images. They're not real people, right? But they're very close to real people.
I'm sure Disney and Marvel, everybody is at your doorstep right now for
So,
access to
being
it.
Ethical,
Sure.
being secure, and being ethical about it is extremely.
I think we are almost out of time, so but last one word in. We are fully out of time? Okay. Yeah.
Just a last word. I'll just talk about the challenge again, already touched upon. The ethics part. How do we actually deal with it? Regulation, regulation, regulation. There's no two ways about it. You guys are doing it, but that needs to be absolutely universal. Otherwise, we're in for some trouble.
Okay. Okay, sure. Okay, so before we end, just one last thing. I asked same question on the use cases of AI to AI itself. And it's a laundry list, right, from customer insights to predictive analytics to customer service, content generation, digital advertising, social media monitoring, SEO, voice and visual search, and market forecasting. So all the people who are working in these businesses need to start looking at AI very, very seriously. Thank you so much. We're totally out of time. I'm going to hand over the session. Thank you so much to the panelists. Hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you for listening to us.